Hello.
Yeah, this is Steve Tucker from Morbid Angel.
Hi, this is Lisa with Meta Moose Radio. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I apologize. I realized at the last second I needed to call you, and that's why you hadn't called me, so I didn't realize.
Well, yeah,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. So how are you doing out there?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
We got some cold weather in Texas. We ain't used to it.
You got it's been up and it's been back and forth here the whole time, man. Like 71 day, 32 the next. So as long as it just decides what it wants to be, I'm cool with it.
Right. So you're back with Morbid Angel. How does it feel to be back? I know we're all excited to have you back.
And it feels really normal. I mean, honestly, I don't know what I should have expected out of it to feel or whatever. Everything just feels normal, man. It just feels like, doesn't really feel different than it did, when I left, man. I mean, Trey and I seem to fall right back into, our sort of roles, man. And, I don't know, man. I guess when you're older, maybe you appreciate things a little bit more. That'd be about the biggest difference these days,
Right. Now, you just released a new album. So how did you come up with the sound and the collaborative effort? Who was playing what, doing what?
Yeah, the album's called Kingdoms Disdained, and I mean, actually, Trey and myself both wrote the music for the album. Trey wrote most of the music. I think he wrote 8 of the 11 songs or something like that. But we kind of mixed it up, man. We did some songs on demos where that was pretty much the earlier part of it. Trey was making demos of his ideas and sending them to me, and I would work on vocals and ideas at home, and then we sort of worked some songs out like that. And then once we got to the rehearsal room, we ended up writing some more songs, sort of using a more live feeling, I guess, man. I myself wanted to wait until I was in the room sort of playing Morbid Angel songs before I started trying to write any Morbid Angel songs.
Right. So how did you come up with the name of the album, Kingdoms Disdained?
Man, Trey came to me, about around the beginning of the rehearsals and said, man, I think I pretty much decided this was what I'd like to name the album. And then we started talking about the whole idea. The whole idea of it really is just that, I mean, everywhere is sort of chaotic and crazy and, hates their king or hates their government, or is at least, if it's not hate, they're in conflict and disagreement with them. There's just, it just seems to be a completely unsettled thing in the entire world, but we kind of feel there's like an underlying thing there, man. We feel like there's a lot of, right now, a lot of conflict between what governments say and what people's religion tells them. There's sort of, there's this line there that's being crossed constantly, man. And, it's causing a lot of people sort of, I think, these spiritual anxieties and angst in it. Mm-hmm. And I think the overall, what it does is, to a society, I think it just makes the society as a whole much more dangerous and chaotic.
Right. So what's been the most difficult song to put together for you on this new album?
I think the most difficult song probably would be the second song on the album. It's a song called D.E.A.D. Dead, mm-hmm. And it is, man, it's just one of the craziest arrangements that Trey's ever kind of brought to the table. I believe it's just a song that's different than any song, definitely that Morbid Angel's ever done, but yet it's still very mean and aggressive, and it's pretty technical. It's just it's a very, very different song,
Okay, and on the other end, what's been the easiest one to put together?
The easiest one that went together, I would say, would have been the song Architect and Iconoclast. That was one of the songs that was demoed, and we pretty much did exactly, sort of what the demos were. And, it just seemed to be, even when I was writing lyrics for that song, it just happened. You know, it was one of those things. It was one of the songs that I didn't have to listen to, 10 million times. Some of the songs, man, I had to listen to them so many times just to get the parts in my head, the changes in my head, and the feeling in my head. But that was one of those songs that it was much more rapidly came together. It was pretty quick.
Do you have a favorite song?
Now having said that, that's on my end. On Trey's end, because he wrote the music on that one. I mean, he may have played with that for a couple months. You know what I mean? So for my end, it came together the easiest, definitely.
Right. Do you have a favorite song?
It keeps changing. Right now, I mean, the lyrics to that song, Architect and Iconoclast, they're some of my favorite lyrics that on this album, and maybe even some of my favorite that I've ever written. So that one seems to hold a special place, I think.
So do you think the whole album has like a meaning out there that you're trying to put out?
Not really. I don't think it has a warning or something like that. It's not a warning. I mean, honestly, I think all the things that it talks about are sort of inevitable at this point. I think there's certain things that, once you reach a certain point as a people, there's really no changing. You know what I mean? And there's only moving in another direction. So I think that, what it's about is really sort of that entire, like I said, that spiritual clash that's happening right now, sort of with, I guess, society. There's the social issues and then the spiritual issues, and the two just, for a lot of people, man, they clash in a lot of ideas. I don't think anyone's in an agreement about anything at this point in time. I really don't. And I think that vibe comes across as very chaotic, man. And this song, I think, this album, I think the way the album starts all the way to the end, it sort of builds in chaotic, and it really kind of revolves around what's going on. And I think it sits really well with what's happening right now,
So what's been the most memorable event so far when you've been with Morbid Angel?
Touring with Pantera in the United States was phenomenal. That was something that, playing the kind of music that I play, I never thought that I would ever get to do. I never thought I would play arenas and, be a part of that large of a production, So that was an experience, and I mean, it had its amazing things and it had its bad things. One bad thing is that, man, it's really difficult to just meet fans, just to come in standard everyday contact with fans, which at a band that's touring, and playing essentially clubs and theaters like we play, I mean, we have there's an interaction there with fans that, really disappears once you get to that arena stage. And, so that was pretty phenomenal to do, but at the same time, I've seen where I don't know that would be something I would enjoy always doing,
Right. So who's someone that you actually enjoyed meeting or were excited to meet along the way?
I've met a lot of people, man, and I've met so many people. It's unreal. Honestly, I have to say the people that really, for me, meant the most to meet were, when I met Rob Halford, and it was only for a quick second, but that was absolutely amazing. I never got to meet Ronnie James Dio. I really wish I had. But, man, not just meeting them, hanging out with them. I have to say, Daryl Dom from Pantera, man.
Right.
Just that dude was just a whole different kind of dude, and that was cool. The same with Phil from Pantera. Them guys, man, are different kinds of dudes, but yet at the same time, pretty amazing people,
I know you went on tour. I don't know if you were touring with them though when they went on tour with Motorhead and Black Sabbath.
No, I wasn't. That was actually David still. That was, I think that was on Blessed or Covenant. I can't remember.
So what keeps you going when the times get tough and you're having a hard time with whatever's going on in the band or on stage or on tour? What keeps you going every day? Because I know that I'm sure there's times where you're like, oh, my God, another day.
Well, I can tell you that I've spent time away from, touring, and I spent time away from being sort of on the heavy schedule of it and everything, and
Uh-huh.
even away from writing. And really, honestly, what I learned is, man, it's all I really want to do. All I really want to do is play shows and write songs and record albums. I mean, that's what I, sort of feel about it at this moment.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, I feel pretty lucky to get to be a part of, music as a whole, and to make albums and know at some point, 50 years from now, someone will pick it up and hear it, and whatever they think of it, it's still there. It's documented and always a part of music.
Right. I know that Morbid Angel is coming up on like 35 years, I believe, pretty soon.
Yeah, Trey started this thing a really, really long time ago. And, the thing about, Morbid for me has always been, Trey's told me about the early days, what his dreams were with it, what his goal, what he wanted to achieve with it, and why he wanted to do it, and all these different things, man.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've kind of always remembered that, man. I always remember why he originally wanted to do this band and what this band stood for and things like that. I always remember that, and I take heed in that, man, and like, anything I want to write about or anything like that in the band, I think that Morbid Angel sort of became its own entity, and I'd like it to remain having that entity be, a menacing, mean, thing.
Right. Are you planning anything special for the 35-year anniversary?
I don't think so. Those guys did some Covenant tours, but no, we're not really talking about that right now. We're really just talking about going out and doing a lot of shows to support Kingdoms Disdained. I mean, it's sort of our main objective. I mean, we ourselves love the album, and we're excited about getting to play some of these songs,
Right.
live. So that's what we're really looking for right now.
Well, I know that, over the years, Morbid Angel, when they first started coming out and hit really big, they broke a lot of barriers for a lot of other bands that are up and coming now, and then they look at you as their influences. So, how do you feel about that when they said, "Oh man, we just, Morbid Angel was our influence, and that's why we do what we do." How does that make you feel?
Well, the one thing that it makes me, that's definite in my mind is that, Morbid Angel is an original band.
Mm-hmm.
The songs are always written from an original angle, and, it was, like I said, the goal for Morbid Angel was always something, really big and even spiritual, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
when people say stuff like that, I mean, it's, for me, it kind of, I don't know what to say back. I don't know what my reply should be. You know what I mean? I don't
Right.
really know, except for to say thanks, man. I'd have to say that, I mean, for me, man, I've got to do this for a long time, and I've gotten to meet a lot of people doing it, and I've gotten to meet a lot of people that, that influenced me. And the thing about it is, I don't really know, because even when I meet them, I sort of blank out on how to act towards them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really know how, like when I met Lemmy, I didn't know how to fucking act. I really didn't, and all I did was, hey man, I'm me. I'm Steve Tucker. I just be, who I am and do my thing. And
Right.
he was cool as could be, but, that's the thing. It's like, it's music. I grew up, I still love music. I grew up loving heavy metal, man. It's always been a major part of my life. So if there's anyone in metal that I've influenced in any way, I mean, that's an honor for me,
Is there any advice you give to young and upcoming bands? Because I know that with the way that, in the times that Morbid Angel was coming into their own, and the bands that are starting now is completely different. Any advice that you would give them?
I think the big difference now would be the fact that a lot of guys, they at home have the tools to write everything to make an entire album. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that will sit alone and essentially make an album, and then find guys, if there's the opportunity to go play live, they'll find guys to go do that with them. And to be honest with you, I think it's my opinion that sort of limits things. I think when people sort of box themselves in like that and they create completely on their own, it really limits what the outcome's going to be. You know, some of the coolest things that I've ever been a part of in my career have been things that where I collaborated with other people. Those were the things that when I stepped back and listened to it, I was like, oh man, I love it. You know, so for me, it would be, you know, learn how to be, you know, learn how to compromise with other musicians and stuff like that, and learn how to create together, man. There seems to be not a lot of people in the music, younger fellows in the music industry that do that these days, you know?
Right, right. So where can people pick up this new album?
Man, we're in the space age, so I'd say Amazon, you know? Like, that's where you can get everything.
And you got any tour dates heading out in the new year?
No, I'm actually waiting for some stuff right now. They're saying early spring, late winter we're going to head out, so I'm waiting to hear what we're doing any day now.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I hope to see you in Houston sometime next year.
Awesome. I can't wait to be there again, man. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for sitting down and taking a few moments before your busy schedule kicks in and talking about this new album.
Not a problem. I appreciate it, and I'm glad, you know, people care, you know.
All right. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Later on.